Hey, welcome back, Mr. Smith Garage. I'm in here in the garage with Jack. 81 Vanagon. So this is going to be the first time I've hooked up the battery. You can see I got wires everywhere. We've hooked up the engine. So this is somewhat scary for me because I'm not sure what's going to happen here. I've got the positive wire that's coming from the front, or the front of the vehicle that goes to the coil is disconnected, and it's just jumpered to my oil pressure gauge. I've also got a remote starter switch here that's hooked up to the starter, which you can't see in here, but it is. And I shouldn't have to undo the fuel pump because it runs off of that positive wire from the coil that goes into all the electronic stuff. So I did. This is an interesting. Remember, I put in that giant cable for the battery, positive. Well, it's really hard to maneuver in here because it's it's shoved up there with the gas tank and all that stuff. So anyway, here we go. We're gonna put this ground cable on. Should probably set you up in case I get shocked, and who knows what's gonna happen. See if anything catches on fire. So far so good. Here, gotta tighten this up. I haven't seen any smoke or heard any sparks, so that's probably a good sign. These batteries are just super tight in here. I mean, it's nice that they're tight, right? But goodness sake. Again, what we're trying to get to is we want to run some oil through the system before we actually start the vehicle. Make this easy. Okay, battery's in, good. Electrical is not on fire, good. I don't have any dash lights hooked up, so and this is where we could technically see if this remote starter switch works. I did not undo the fuel pump. Oh, I need to check to see. Oh, look at that. It's got power. Okay, well, that's good. I need to make sure it's in neutral, huh? Launch it. I do think it's in neutral. Are we ready to just see if the starter turns over? That's what we're doing. Well, the starter does turn over, so we're looking for oil pressure from the oil pressure gauge. I'm trying to think if it has. Yeah, it's got power because it's going to the coil. Sounds like good compression. I don't want to burn up the starter. I'm not getting anything on the PSI yet, but that's always possible because it sometimes takes a few minutes for pressure to build on these on this engine. Okay, I'm gonna check my dipstick now. Okay, still have oil. Let's keep going. I should probably look underneath, make sure there's no major oil leaks down here, huh? Well, no oil leaking yet. One thing I didn't do that I could have done is I could take the spark plugs out, but just figured I'd keep running it just like it is. Here, let's see. See if we get pressure. The other thing we can do to check on pressure is to pull off the valve cover over here and see if we're getting any oil coming up that way. Come on, pressure. Well, what do you think? All right, we're gonna keep working. Okay, I turned the ignition key on because I'm wondering if the power on this, oh, and this looks like it moved, if the power on this is run from the ignition key. It is building pressure. You can see it's more than just 0 there. Okay. Still kind of scared. I feel like I'm hearing little shocks or something somewhere. But that just could be the airflow meter. It could be a couple different things. Let me go back and turn off the ignition switch and see what it's doing. We do have oil pressure though. Look at that, a little bit. Not much. Okay, these are all questions we need to answer, but maybe it needs more oil in there to build more pressure. So we're gonna we've only put 3 quarts of oil in there. The oil is on the dipstick. So that's good. Let's double check it. Yeah, oil is in between the 2 lines. I don't want to overfill it. And I also put oil in the oil filter. So it's pre-primed. Well, should I keep going, see what the oil pressure sender does? There we go. Let's see if it keeps. It is building pressure, so I know the pump's working. Doesn't have a lot of pressure, but it does have some. I wonder if we're ready to turn the fuel pump on and put some fuel in there. We don't have gas in the gas tank right now, so. Mrs. Smith and I have a date night tonight, so we may not want to get too deep into this. All right, I think I'm going to hit this when I get back from Minnesota. So I'll be in Minnesota for a week. We'll probably post this the next week. See how it goes. I'm going to take the battery cable off though while I'm gone. Okay, welcome back a few days later. You can watch some of those other videos in between. Anyway, I was getting ready to think about getting the engine going, and I've got the fuel stuff in, but I don't have this piece in it, so I wanted to sand this down and kind of look, see what was there. So I did, and there is some Bondo right in here. So anyway, but what I was noticing is I was trying to figure out what order to put everything back in to get the nozzle back on, and I remember that I have a 82 donor part out in the shed, so I went out to get the donor part, and I noticed, so let me show you what I bought. So I bought this stuff online. I'm pretty sure I got it at Vanagon. So this is the replacement rubber part. Goes around the neck and then seals off everything. This metal piece goes on the outside. Okay, but what I've found that on the 82, on the stock part, look how much more rubber this has in it. It has that little nozzle piece in there versus this one's just straight on through. You know, as long as it's sealed, but it's just interesting. The other thing I found that between, this is the replacement part and this is the original stock part with part number and what octane to use. And see how it's got that whole section in here? It kind of fits over that rubber part. You can't see it. And then that all went on to this, came in behind and is like a protective piece around that rubber part. And I can't find it on my 81, so I don't know if it was not available on the 81 or not. So, but what I did find is that in order to get the gas cap on with this little piece here, I had to do some cutting. I'll show you. Let me set this up so you can see. But on this metal piece, that this little cutout that I did came all the way down, and when this is in, you can see it actually hit the plastic piece of this spring, actually hit that. So I cut that out, filed it down so it didn't have any sharp edges, and I think I'm going to use the stock original piece, although I am going to use the new rubber piece. And so how this goes in is you get your disc that fits in there. So this goes down first. This goes on top. And this goes over the top of that. And that's how it sandwiches together to create a seal. And then there's room here for this to go around your fuel and that mechanism. So that's how it goes in. It's kind of tricky, but it'll work. And I'm not going to use this piece, which I bought, but that's okay. And what's nice about this big piece is that there's 3 screws. There they go. And they're actually threaded screws that fit in there as opposed to just a metal screw. So anyway, we're going to get this put on so I can put some fuel in the tank and we can start this motor up. Okay, after trying this a few times, there is a method to putting this whole piece together. So I'm going to try to film it for you so that you can see the process that we have to do here. Okay, let's see. I don't know, this is horrible filming. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay, so this piece, you can see there's these little run-ups on there. It's kind of like your fuel tank. So you want to get it so that it's basically in the right place. Oh yeah, so we don't want to put that on first. First thing we want to put on is the clamp that's going to go over the rubber piece. And that'll slide down as far as it'll go, which there's a piece here so it doesn't slide down too far. Then we want to put this piece on, which is the second piece that goes on. So you kind of have to do it in this order, otherwise you'll end up not being able to put everything in there. Then we're going to put this piece on, and this is the piece off the 82. Hopefully you can see that. Just gotta twist until it gets on there. Okay, so now it's on. Then you put the rubber piece in. It's basically going to go down all the way. Then this metal piece that's inside, it's going to come back up show you this. Need a flashlight. Okay, so you can see this piece goes up around. It's got to go up far enough so that you can get this clamp on there, which is proving to be a little harder than I thought it would be. Let me see if I can get that. Oh, yeah, the rubber piece has to go down a little further. That's probably why. Okay, so I think what we basically need to do is at least line up one hole. So I've got this hole lined up. And it's going to go this way. This is the last piece to go on. And that's going to be the lineup right there. Okay, sure enough, I got one screw in. So now the trick is going to be finding the rest of the holes. Just don't drop the screw in the hole. In fact, I'm going to plug the hole right now just so that the screw can't possibly get dropped in. That would be a problem. Oh my. Okay, so I found them all. I found all the screws. They threaded in, and you can tell that they're threaded in. So this is pretty supple rubber, so you don't have to get them too super tight, and they're really fine threads. So you just want to get it so that it's creating a seal. Now, yeah, there's enough. Yeah, once you get it all tightened up, there is enough. Can you see that? I'm sorry. There's enough rubber on here to get this around there, so I'm just gonna loosen that up a bit and tighten it. And here, I can probably get this thing on now. Look at that, and it feels sealed perfect. Okay, so now I can put gas in there and feel pretty confident that it's sealed up. I'm just going to tighten this up for you. Okay, that is all tightened up, and we are ready to put some fuel in there. Boy, it's really coming down this afternoon. Huh. Nice. It's nice to get a little bit of rain. It's not quite coming in and hitting the Porsche there. We enjoy the rain here. It's probably gonna hail. All right, so next steps is we're gonna put some fuel in there, and we're gonna re-hook up the wires so that it's ready to start, and we're gonna give it a go. Try and start it up. All right, so gonna see what's going on here. We're gonna hook up the battery and run this motor a few more times. In fact, that should be on there tight enough to. Yeah, I don't even need to tighten that up. Okay. So I should have a red light. Yep, see my little starter right back there? Got a red light on there. Okay, and so what we're looking for, I got the spark plugs out here. So you can see, spark plug. Yep, spark plugs out. Make sure I'm not going to have anything fall down. Yep, no dust. Yeah, we're looking good. Okay, so again, if you don't remember from the other day, I got this jumper, so took the power from the coil and I jumped it to this is the oil pressure regulator, which shows up right here. And I think my little we're just trying to gain some oil pressure. You know what? I think I remember this from last time. I think I need to turn, I don't know why I need to turn on the ignition, but I think from last time, where's my ignition switch at? Oh, up here. I think the oil pressure wasn't working until I turned that on. Okay, I'm not seeing any pressure build up there, which it should be. Oh, wait a minute, that wasn't on. Okay, so maybe that is the problem. Oh, yeah, look at that. It already hopped up a little bit. I also hear a little shock somewhere every time I get it going. Something's grounding out. Okay, we're good. Uh-oh. What do I hear now? Oh, is that my fuel pump? Uh-oh. Yeah, the fuel pump was running. Okay. Let me think about this. Fuel pump was running. Let's check the oil. See if make sure that we still got oil at the right level. Yep, oil is still in there. So that's good. I'm trying to think if I should pull this other black wire off of here. I'm wondering if that maybe runs the... That might run the fuel pump. So let's see if that... Yeah, see, I feel like I hear the fuel pump running under there. Unless that's just my starter. No, that's the fuel pump, all right. So at some point, the fuel pump's getting power. Let me think about this. So we're not, even if the fuel pump has power, it would just be running the fuel through. It would not, I don't feel like we would have a problem where we're dumping fuel into the cylinders. Let's look down on this one and just see if it looks like there's fuel in there. I don't see any fuel in there. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is run it. We're going to put the spark plugs in and hook the coil back up to the right wires and see if it fires up. I think that's what we're going to try. Got the fire extinguisher handy. Okay, in all seriousness, I do have fire extinguisher handy. So we've hooked our coil up correctly. All spark plugs are back in. I've got this disconnected in my jumper, connected back in for the starter. I think we're ready to go. We'll see. I got to remember to hook up the battery back up. So I took the battery off when I was moving all that stuff around. Okay, let me put the camera down. Okay, battery's hooked up, not tightened down, just in case I need to pull it for some reason. And take my earplugs out, head those in. Okay, so this is key start potentially here. I didn't hear the fuel pump come on. Fuel pump should come on, and I don't hear it right now. Let me set you guys up here so you can see what's going on with the engine. Well, fuel pump. How come the fuel pump's not coming on? Wires to red. Okay, we got to figure out the fuel pump. Okay, so I don't have any leaks in the fuel line, and I heard the fuel pump come on one time, but that was when I didn't have the starter hooked up. I don't see any leaks. Huh. So something's going on with the fuel pump. It's not getting fuel. Huh. So I should have, okay, this is kind of a mess right here. But when I turn the power on, the key to ignition, I should get fuel pump. I wonder if there's something that's because something in the dash isn't hooked up that I'm not getting fuel at the fuel pump. Well, maybe I need to work on my wires a little bit more. You know, and I didn't even look at my fuses. Oh, I got a fuse missing. Huh. I wonder what that fuse is. Make sure the other ones aren't blown. Do I have any of those fuses? Or did I get rid of them all? Okay. I've got another fuse block out in the shed that has fuses in it. So let me go get some fuses. Okay, found a few fuses. 8 amps and 16 amp ones. There is a flasher right here that is for some kind of a relay that's not there. I think I'm going to go look in that shed real quick and see if I got a relay in that one for the... Okay, I did not find any relays for the 82 spare panel that I had. This is the relay I'm looking for here. And in the Bentley, it shows that as the ignition key warning buzzer relay. So I don't think it's required to be in there for the fuel pump to work. But that's the problem, though. I am not getting a fuel pump. So I'm going to look in the Bentley for a fuel pump troubleshooting. All right, we're a few days into this. We are trying to figure out electrical to make sure that my fuel pump should work properly. And so I got the battery disconnected. So one thought is get the dash back in, because maybe some of the things that are hooked up with the dash impact how things work with relays, etc. The other thing is hook up the battery and then go through the Bentley. I'm not sure if you have a Bentley or not, but this is kind of the next thing. I have a whole new wiring harness in here of all the different tests that they have here for ohm testing, and ohm testing here, which I don't have this piece. That's the USA and Canada. I have a double relay California model. I want to say there are some different, that is the loom that I have, because that's air cooled. I have California one, and here's some of the tests that we could do on the AFC system using an ohm meter, voltmeter, according to the chart. So I think I'm going to go through this process and see if everything is working the way it should work. I'm going to plug the battery in first. We'll be back. All right, we are another evening into this. There's the engine. There's the book, the Bentley. Troubleshooting, but then as I was troubleshooting, I'm thinking, you know, I probably need to get the dash in, but this is so nasty messy. And I'm not sure that I'm going to use this blower fan. I've got another blower fan from an 82 out in the shed. And so I started doing some cleaning here. It looks a whole lot better than it did just a little while ago. But I also need to replace the brake. So here's my piece for the brake reservoir, which I think is just slightly different, but not much from that one. Well, and I got the dashboard cleaned up. Yeah, this is just slightly different, but it should fit just fine. Anyway, there's my piece there. I've also got another brake booster back in here somewhere. Oh, there's another dash piece, huh? I've got another brake booster and master cylinder back in here that I might replace. This one's pretty rusty looking. The other one at least isn't that rusty looking. I've kind of gone through and cleaned up some wires. It's just a mess in here. But again, I haven't touched this thing for 5 years or so. I've got some surface rust up here that I'm going to clean up right up on that sill. I've also got some more than surface rust here. I've got pieces for that, but I'm also thinking about just filling it. So we'll see how that goes. But right now, we're going to go out to the shed and see if I can get this other blower and see how different it is, especially the controls. Okay, so here is the one that's in the 81 Vanagon. It has a flap here at the bottom. See that? A flap here that runs into this channel. So this flap here controls this tube that comes through the door, runs all the way through the door into the, I guess we call this the B pillar, right? And then from there, oh, it runs up because there's vents up here that it would run to, okay, on both sides. But because it's a Westfalia, those vents don't even work. Huh. Which, because I was just going to point out that this one here, this cable, oh, that cable's good. It's this cable that runs down to the feet. That the cable is broken right there. See that? Okay, now on this one, so this is out of 82. It has 4 levers versus this one has 3 levers. Okay, you can see that 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this one has 4. But I will tell you, the one that runs this back is in working order. It looks like it might have been replaced. That is, here, let's see if it, oh, that's the back one. Okay, so there's also one, see that? That's the very bottom. And I haven't even looked to see what that goes to. The very bottom, oh, the bottom one does go to those louvers that go down. Aha, that might be why this only has 3 louvers. So this one, I wonder what that runs then. Okay, but what I was gonna say is that this one here is broken cable. And that's the top one. So it's not even going to work because see how the cable just moves open and close? Okay, so that's for that one. Let's see if on here this cable works for that one. That's that. Oh, that's the same broken cable. Interesting. Wonder why that is. Why it's the same broken cable. Okay, so what I might be able to use though is I might be able to use this one that's not broken, but it is on this side. It's really bad. You can see it's all bent up here. But yeah, I'm gonna pull this one out, and we're gonna use this one, and then we may actually have vents in the back. I'll remember that that's what we're doing, and we'll be able to put vents in the back. Okay, so let's pull this out. It's just a few screws, 1, 2, 3 on this side. I think it's the same thing on the other side, and then it kind of just comes out. Let's see if there's anything that we 1, 2, 3, and then on this side 1, 2, 3. That one's behind this thing, so we might want to take that piece out. All right, so we'll start with that and move forward. See if we'd be able to clean this a whole lot better with that out. So, okay, to get to this last screw, it's kind of in an inopportune place. I took this brake hose off. That's what this is. It's just a fluid can. I've got it clamped. Normally goes right here. I really need to take this off because it's gonna leak out anyway one of these days. But the last screw is right back pretty deep in here. You can't even see it. But before I go get that screw, I'm going to take these things off of here. So I'm recording this piece to see which ones goes where. So this one goes to the bottom one. The middle one goes to the top one. And then this bottom one goes to the middle. Oh, you know what? Look at that. So we're both in the middle. So you can't even see this probably. Sorry about that. So it's held on here, but both of those cables go to this middle one right here. Okay? I hear something moving in the back. The top one is the one that kind of is solo there. You can see that. It's a solo one. It goes into this top one. And the bottom one is the one that's kind of messed up here a little bit. It's this one here. And you see how it's all twisted and messed up at the bottom here. So I got to figure out how to make that work. But I'm going to take these off so that I can get in here a little bit easier, and I might have to take off this last little plenum that kind of runs back behind there. So just documenting this again for me so that when I put it back together I know where I'm putting stuff. Okay, so this one has a little tiny clip right in there. So and it has a shaft that goes through there. So I'm just going to try and get this little clip out of here. There's the little clip. See that? And then that top. Put that right here with our other parts. And this top should come off. Yep, look at that. And then the bottom, if you can see what I'm doing here, the bottom actually comes out of here. I think this one's a little bent. Okay, gotta put down the camera and get that off. Okay, so just so you see how these two go together. It goes over the top, and then that clip goes on top of there. I think I'm just going to put it back on there just so that it's... Oh, of course, going to lose the clip because we're doing it one-handed. Got it. Okay. I'm assuming this one runs... These are that heater box in the back, you know, the original air-cooled heater box. So now we need to see if we can get some of this stuff out of the way and get to that screw that's down there. I'm going to get a flashlight for you so you can see what we're talking about. Okay, the other thing I want to let you know that I had to do here is that screw right there. I took that screw off. It's a little tiny screw. It's right there. And the reason I did that is because we gotta get this thing off of there to pull this whole thing out. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So I just kind of pushed that thing off. See, that's the problem with. I just pushed the plenum off, and I think we're ready to pull this bad boy out of here. And this should, yep, just come right out of here. It's got to come up and over that wire. There we go. Let's make sure there's no wires over here that are holding on to it. Aha. This red wire, looks like I can pull that out. It was in, just so, again, for documentation, that fan wire is right here. Pull that off. There we go. And then fish that through. That way I can take this whole thing off. There we go. I'm just going to put these wires over here. Oh, we got a ground wire too. That's right here. There we go. Ground wire off and over. Okay, so now I should be able to pull this thing out. Are we ready? Make sure we're not hooked into anything else. Should be. Oh, we're hooked around this wire. There we go. Voila! And look at that. No mouse house, which is good. But yeah, definitely dirty. Some stuff we can clean up here. Clean out. So, all right, that's where air comes in and goes into the fan, and then blows around, goes down. This goes down, or this comes from the back and blows hot air from the back up through the front. Yeah, good. Okay, so we can clean this out a little bit. Also get to the wiper motor. Make sure it's all cleaned up and ready to go. Whew, this just starting the engine has turned in quite a bit more than that. I might have to do this in a couple of videos. Okay, I think I'm learning something here on these two. So this came out of an 82 GL, and this is the blower for this 81 Westfalia. Notice this mechanism here is not on this one, but it's, however, blocked off, and there's no lever for that one. So that is the one that opens up and drops down into the tube that goes around to to get air to the back, which technically it doesn't do, because that would normally be covered, those air gaps would be covered with with headliner. I'm not sure what I'm going to do up there. I might want vents in the back. The other thing that I had been thinking about was trying to put some kind of an air conditioning unit in there, but I've also been thinking about putting it in the top and just having it run off the 12 volt. So the other thing that I learned as I'm going through this is that cable that I thought was broken is not actually broken. What happens with this cable is it's broken on purpose because it only is for this last portion. So when I pull it here, it pulls these vents up, but it only does that at the very end. When it's down here, the cable that comes in from the back, which goes down to the bottom underneath the Vanagon, pulls from this piece here into this hole, and it will pull it back this way to be for the feet in the back. And you notice how that cable just is loose and kind of opens up. Okay, this one runs both openings in the back. From, if you pull it open, it's supposed to bring hot air from the back to the front. If you close it, it just closes off the heater box, because I only have one heater box cable that's working in this vehicle right now. The bottom ones on the GL, one of them opens, it probably runs to these side vents here. The bottom one will do something. Anyway, it's there, and that's working. That cable's working. This one runs to, this is the one that the Vanagon didn't have. This is the one that runs to the back. So this bottom lever here will actually open. That's closed. Let's see. Nope, that's open. That's closed to the back if it's all the way over. And you'll see the mechanism that it's running is this one that's not on the Westfalia. Okay, so that's the differences. I'm just gonna lube these all up and clean them so that they're good to go. This one's got some chalk marks on it, which means it probably is replaced. We can test the blower motor through putting some power to it. Power comes in here, ground here, and then these are the different levels of the switch that makes it turn on. So I think we'll do a test on that. But we've got this all hooked up, and we just need to kind of clean it up, and we're good to go on putting this back in. We got to definitely clean the inside of that. But I think I'm going to do the brake booster swap before I put this back in. All right. Again, this is getting really long, and so I might just upload what I've got so far and surprise you the next video with getting the engine actually started. Thank you for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Mr. Smith Garage. We are working on Jack, the Vanagon Westfalia. It is air-cooled. I got a totally rebuilt air-cooled motor in there that we haven't gotten started. That's a spare air-cooled motor there. All the suspension has been redone in Jack, including brakes, suspension, ball joints, all the different pieces of rubber that are part of the suspension. The gas system has been redone. You can see all of that on some of our past videos. Now we're working on the dash, because I think the dash might need to be in to get this thing fired up in the back. And so that's what we're working on now, cleaning the dash area up. There's our new motor, our rebuilt motor, going through and doing some testing, but feeling like I need the dash in there first. So, all right, so that's where we're at. Once again, thanks for joining Mr. Smith Garage. Like, comment if you're going through a similar process. I've talked to a few people online that are. When I pulled this out, I had one bolt snap off, so I'm gonna have to get that out. And anyway, that's where we're at. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks.